Can you believe it's taken me this long to get to a Black Sabbath album? Yeah, it has. It's been, I don't know how many episodes this is, but it's been a long time, and that's a travesty. And I'm about to remedy that travesty right now because I'm going to talk about Black Sabbath, and I'm going to start with the first Black Sabbath album. Now, before I get to what I think about this album, and I don't like to, if you want to know about the album, you can read about it on Wikipedia. For me, this album, and this is not even debatable, this is not, shouldn't be in question, this is the first heavy metal album. That Black Sabbath invented heavy metal with this album, what we later, I guess, knew to be heavy metal. Thank you to Black Sabbath. It wasn't Led Zeppelin, it wasn't MC5, it sure wasn't Steppenwolf, just because they said heavy metal thunder. Steppenwolf was not heavy metal. Black Sabbath is heavy metal. And amazing to think that this album was recorded barely in the 60s. It was recorded in 1969, I guess late 1969. It came out in early 1970. And I can just imagine what people thought when this came out, when people were listening to Happy, the Beatles and the Beach Boys, and the Doors were kind of dark. But to think that this, what people must have thought of this album in 1970 is just incredible. Because even now you think, Jesus Christ, that's heavy stuff. Not just musically, but lyrically, the whole tone, their image, everything, amazing. Very, very, very arguably, now the fact that Black Sabbath invented heavy metal is not arguable. It is arguable whether this is considered the most important metal album ever. I guess you could make the argument, as I kind of just did. Was it the most important? I don't know. That doesn't really matter. My personal feeling about this album is, I don't love it. I like it. There's another thing there's no doubt about is that I love this first Black Sabbath album. But it never caught on with me. It wasn't the first one I ever got. I got Paranoid in 1980, and I didn't get the first one until I never had it on the record. I've got it right here. I'm going to open it very shortly. I never had the record, so this is the first time I've had the record. I got it on CD probably in the early 90s, I guess. And maybe it was too late for me at that point to really, I was already at that point well deep into Metallica and Slayer and Iron Maiden and Kiss, obviously, and Motorhead. So I was early to Black Sabbath in 1980, but that was all I had, I think, through the. And then I knew a little bit of Volume 4. A friend of mine called Dwayne Frank had Volume 4. He also had Born Again. So I knew those albums through him. But I didn't really go back and buy all the Black Sabbath albums until early 90s when CDs were a thing. And I think the reason I didn't like this, it's not that I didn't like it too much. I love it. There are some great songs on it, but it always felt to me kind of incomplete. And I don't know why, because it is 36 or 37, 38, 39 minutes long, as I think most Black Sabbath albums of that era were. Now it's only 5 songs, and this was always something that bugged me about this album and about other Black Sabbath albums, that they had these, at least the North American editions, had these weird subtitles, like the first track is Black Sabbath, okay, very simple. The next track is The Wizard, okay, no problem. But then on the North American versions, it was, the third track was, basically it was, Behind the Wall of Sleep and then NIB. But on the North American versions, it had like these, was it Wasp, I think? And I can't even remember. They had this later on, or they had it earlier for me with Paranoid. I'm going all over the place here. It wasn't just War Pigs, it was Luke's Wall / War Pigs. And that always confused me when I was a kid. I didn't understand, why does it have two titles? Wheels of Confusion / The Straightener, the first song on Volume 4. So this one had 5 actual songs, but 2 of them, one of them had like 4 titles. That was Wasp, No, what else? I can't remember which ones went with one. A little bit of Finger. I think that was later with Wicked World. I can't remember. I'll have to open this up and take a look. But that always kind of bugged me about Black Sabbath. I don't think that was why I didn't like it, but that was just confusing for me. So I'm gonna open this now, and I'm very excited to have my first, not my first Black Sabbath record ever, but my first copy of the first Black Sabbath record ever. And it's so heavy, even as I mentioned, even listening to it now, it's still very heavy. It's so easy to see how much influence Black Sabbath had on, you know, later bands, including even like modern bands. Wow, this is the frustration free. I haven't seen one of these for a while. Frustration free, very frustration free. I don't even need to tear the tab apart. And let's hope it's Black Sabbath. Okay. Oh yeah, and I forgot that this one is a special edition because look at this. Oh, and it's a gatefold. I didn't know it was gatefold. Look at this is if you're into this sort of thing, this is the hype sticker says the self-titled debut album which instigated, not sure if that's the right word, which instigated the heavy metal genre. I do agree with the sentiment. This is purple and black splatter vinyl. And I've mentioned before, I don't really care about the color. This one was actually cheaper than on Amazon. They had two. They had the original one in black and this one purple and black vinyl, and it was a little bit cheaper. And I always go with cheaper. And I don't know if the original was a gatefold. Paranoid was a gatefold, but as I said, since I didn't have this on vinyl, I didn't know. So there's the hype sticker, and let me see the back. Oh, okay, now this has. Oh, this is quite different from mine, or I mean, from what I'm familiar with. Oh, this is a British one. This is from. I don't understand it. It says manufactured. Maybe somebody, maybe Damien, Long Gone Loser, Rock Show is his YouTube name. Maybe he can explain this. It says manufactured in Poland, but then it's got the legal stuff. It says Marchant Square in London, and it says Jim Castle Limited under exclusive license to Sanctuary Records Group, which I think is British. So I'm not sure if is this Polish or how many Polish people does it take to make a Black Sabbath record? I don't know if there's a punchline there, but remember all those Polish jokes? So this is a much cleaner track listing than what I'm used to. And I listen to when I listen to this record and all my music digitally. But I do want to go, I haven't done this for a while. I haven't really seen hype stickers for a while. Let me go take a picture of this quickly, and I'm going to get back to track by track of Black Sabbath. Continue with my Polish-British version of the first Black Sabbath album. I'm about to open it up. I don't need to slice it open because it has this convenient, this flap. I love this. It's safer too. You don't have to worry about cutting yourself with a knife. They say more than 1 person a year are killed in knife accidents whilst opening records. That's a fact. So Damien, is this a Polish edition or is this an English-British edition? All right. All right, I'll put that over there. And I guess I kind of a strange thing about Black Sabbath, they never really had one definitive logo like Iron Maiden, Motorhead, Scorpions, Kiss, of course. Who else? Metallica kind of had the logo. They changed it a little bit, but Black Sabbath, they had this logo, which I don't really like this one. It looks kind of 60s. They had, for me, the best Black Sabbath logo is the. They had a different logo on every album. This one, there was this. Paranoid was that those kind of blocky pinkish letters. I think they were pink. Volume 4 was the big white block letters. Master of Reality is, I think sorry, I went in the wrong order. Master of Reality was third. Had that kind of wavy ribbon purple. I think for me, I think for most people, that's the definitive classic Black Sabbath logo. Then Volume 4 had the big white block letters. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath had a pretty cool logo too. I mean, the Black Sabbath logo, but on the Sabbath Bloody Sabbath album. Kind of lightning-y, like kind of similar to Kiss. What else? We Sold Our Souls for Rock and Roll had kind of similar. Anyway, here it is. Well, here's the gatefold. I've never seen this. Why is this not? Oh, it's. Oh, I do need the knife after all. I must be careful. I don't want to let my guard down. Just when I thought, no, it's not taped. No, it felt like it was taped. Oh, cool. I've never seen this before. I like it. And obviously I can Google this, but did the original one have a gatefold? I don't know, and this is what it looks like. The album cover. You know what it looks like. And let me see the inner workings, the guts of this. Probably, yeah, I thought so. Probably nothing here. I think Black Sabbath is not big on packaging. Just this classic white. And let's take a look at what this black and purple splatter vinyl looks like. All right. I don't see the big deal with color, but some people like it. Oh, very cool. I'm just happy to have the first Black Sabbath album on any colored vinyl in my hands in 2023. Let me put this back here. Now, to go through it track by track, and what a great band Black Sabbath is. I mean, musically, they get all the credit for being the forefathers or grandfathers, godfathers, your father, my father of heavy metal. But I think and obviously Tony Iommi, is the original riff lord and guitar hero, and Ozzy. Ozzy Osbourne, so out in space, he'd probably love it if I pissed in his face. That's a line from a Dayglow Abortion song, excellent Canadian punk band from early 80s, and I think still going on today. But musically, they were, I think, great musicians. I think Bill Ward is a fantastic drummer. I'm nobody to judge anybody's talent, but I think Bill Ward is an amazing drummer. I love the way he plays, especially on like with most bands, the early albums are what you really are drawn to. And Geezer Butler, I think, is probably, if you asked 1,000 people, people who really had an opinion about the best metal bassist, I would guess Steve Harris would probably be voted number 1, and Geezer would probably be number 2. I'm not saying my personal ranking, but I think if you ask people, they would put Geezer. Most people would have Geezer right below, followed closely by Nikki Sixx at number 3. So going through this track by track now, the first song is Black Sabbath. Hello, heavy metal. Black Sabbath, first heavy metal album, first heavy metal song. What a ripper that is. The rain and the sound effects and everything, and then and I can't sing the down when it comes crashing in. That's nothing but pure heavy metal. That is, if there were, if there were like a sonic dictionary where you could define things by sound. If you looked under heavy metal, that first down, that's Black Sabbath. That's heavy metal. An amazing song, and it's so. It's more than just heavy. It's doomy. It's down, and it's slow. Just an amazing song. Ozzy's vocals, please God help me. They're so. I'm lacking the vocabulary to explain what Ozzy's vocals are. Helpless? I don't know. He just sounds desperate. Amazing. Black Sabbath, one of the song Black Sabbath is one of the great heavy metal songs ever. One of my favorite, and maybe some people are sick of it. I don't think I ever got sick of this one. I always enjoyed listening to the song Black Sabbath. And I feel like I should say more just because I think it deserves more. Next is The Wizard. Now this starts with harmonica, as you well know. And I know that's Ozzy playing the harmonica, and even they somehow, Black Sabbath or Ozzy, even found a way to make the harmonica sound kind of heavy and evil. The way it, kind of draws in and it's slow, then it pauses, then comes in again. And then again, when the music comes crashing in, what an incredible song The Wizard is. So far, so good. And maybe I was wrong to say I don't, my reaction to what I thought about this album, I think that was a little bit muted. It should be much better than that. Two amazing killer songs so far. Next is, okay, so this is Behind the Wall of Sleep. I knew this as, was this the one that was Wasp, a bit of Finger, it was, now what I knew it as, I know it was basically an NIB. Now in this one, NIB is next as a standalone track. What was the one that they put as a little slash subtitle before Behind the Wall of Sleep? I want to say a bit of Finger, but I think that was what went with Sleeping Village. I'm not sure. But anyway, Behind the Wall of Sleep is another great song. That one I never really learned too much, I guess because it never became like a true Black Sabbath classic like Sweet Leaf and The Wizard and NIB and War Pigs. But I never really learned the Lizard, I was looking at The Wizard. I never really learned the lyrics to Behind the Wall of Sleep. Take Your Body to, I know the music, great, but never got into that lyrically. Maybe now, 53 years later, this will encourage me to get into it more. And then NIB is next. That's another classic. On the version that I had, the US version or the North American version, it was just basically BASS, kind of bass intro before NIB kind of comes in. Another classic Black Sabbath song that it's one of their signature songs. Oh yeah, I'm not going to sing that. And Ugly Kid Joe, I thought did a very good cover of NIB. I like their version a lot. So side one is fantastic, and I'm finding as I'm doing this, I like it better with the much cleaner titles. If anybody knows what I'm talking about, I hope you all do. All right, I'm getting off track here. Side two, you flip it over. Now this one, when I originally had this on CD, the first song here is Evil Woman, which is, I've seen it some places parentheses, don't play your games with me. On this one, it's a comma, so this is a question of punctuation here. Evil Woman, don't play your games with me. That's a cover. I have no idea who did it originally. It's, I never get into that one because I didn't hear it until many, many years later. It has that kind of happy sounding intro to it, and then that sounds more like Black Sabbath, but never get into that one. Sleeping Village is next. I guess Black Sabbath had a lot of these songs. They would later go on to have these songs, Planet Caravan and Orchid and whatever, these kind of quiet songs. Sleeping Village is one. Of the ones I mentioned, it's probably my least favorite. Just like Metallica had all the instrumentals. They had Call of Cthulhu, Orion, To Live Is To Die, and then later, much later, Suicide and Redemption. Black Sabbath had these kind of mellow, mellow kind of quiet songs. So Sleeping Village, it's okay. Not, maybe, I don't know if it's my least favorite. I'm not sure. And then Warning. You know what? I just realized this is missing Wicked World. It's missing Wicked World. You know what? I don't really care about that because, as I said, I listen to these mostly digitally. I have been listening to all the ones that I've done. I've listened to the actual records too. But yeah, digitally, I maybe on digitally I can remove all those stupid slash subtitles. So the last song on this version is Warning, and that's a really long one. That's 10 or 11 minutes. Warning. No time listed on these songs. Yeah. But yeah, Warning. It's a good one. Another one that I didn't get too into, at least lyrically, musically. I know this album as well as anything. Except no, all of them. Yeah, I was going to say except Evil Woman. Don't you play your games with me? But yeah, so that's it. So that's Warning, and that is all for Black Sabbath. And it's hot. I've mentioned before, I always have my windows closed to prevent noise. Rock and roll ain't noise pollution, but the noise outside my house is definitely noise pollution, so it's hot. So, I can fan myself really well with this big gatefold. Yeah, all right. So that's it for the first Black Sabbath album. More Black Sabbath to come, not sure when, but for now, hello world, hello heavy metal.